My roommates took advantage of me for years. Now I'm done being their doormat. I've been roommates with the same people for over 3 years now. During this time, I've done the majority of the chores. I do the dishes, take care of the yard, clean up after 2 of my roommates' dogs that pee on the floor at least twice a day, and even unload their laundry. I like a clean house and don't mind doing extra work to help out as I consider them my best friends. It did hurt when they had guests over to the house and didn't invite me, yet I cleaned up after their party the next day. It bothered me, but I kept pushing it aside as I didn't want to cause any issues. Then 3 months ago, I got a girlfriend. After about the 5th or 6th visit, she pulled me aside and said she thought I was being taken advantage of. She'd noticed how much I did around the house and how little my roommates contributed. She suggested I go a week only cleaning up after myself to see how it went. If everything was fine, then she'd admit she was wrong. I agreed, thinking it might help me too. By the end of the first day, not much had changed, just a few puddles of dog pee. But by the second day, the living room was a mess with chewed up markers and a game controller. By the third day, we ran out of dishes. By the fourth, the house was covered in so much dog pee and poop, you couldn't even walk down the hallway without having to jump over it. My roommates with dogs mentioned they were worried the dogs were sick, but they didn't clean up or even take them to the vet. They just locked the dogs outside in the backyard. I ended up cleaning up the dog mess because I couldn't stand the smell. Everything looked and felt disgusting. By the end of the week, the house was in chaos, and I felt like I was losing my mind. When my girlfriend came over, she said I looked more of a wreck than the house did. I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until I saw it through her eyes. I felt used. My girlfriend told me that I needed to either talk to my roommates or move out. She pointed out that they were all adults and should be able to clean up after themselves. She helped me realize I had been doing everything, from fixing things around the house to putting up with them eating my food, and yet they never gave me anything in return. I knew I couldn't take it anymore. My girlfriend offered to let me stay with her until I found a new place. I said I wanted to have a serious conversation with my roommates first, so I got them all together and explained that for the past week, I had stopped doing everything around the house to see how bad the situation would get. I told them how I had been cleaning up after them for the last 3 years, and how it had gotten to the point where I felt like their housekeeper. One of my roommates got angry, saying I had no right to let the house get dirty on purpose, and shouldn't have manipulated them. He actually made it out to be my fault. The other two apologized and asked what they could do to help. I told them they needed to walk their dogs, clean the litter box, feed their animals on time, and remember their clothes in the washer or dryer. Maybe they could clean the kitchen after cooking, or at least soak burnt pans instead of leaving them on the stove. But they interrupted me, saying they already did all of that, and I just took it upon myself to do it before they could. I pointed out that the last week was proof that wasn't true. I even gestured to the kitchen, which was still a mess. They said I was overreacting, that it wasn't that big of a deal. But for me, it felt like a huge deal. I felt like curling up into a ball and giving up. But for once, I stood up for myself. I told them I was moving out right away. They didn't even hesitate to shrug, and told me that I had to help with rent until they found a new roommate. I said, you should consider that money paid in full for all the work I've done as your housekeeper for the last 3 years. Have fun living in a pig pen. As I packed my things, I realized how much I had given without asking for anything in return. I felt proud to have finally stood up for myself.